Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 9 of the Longbangers podcast. I'm joined again by Brian. Brian, how are you this evening?
I'm going to be honest, Matthew. I've probably not felt this bad since my dad moved out.
What have you been up to?
Just raging about Hibs, raging about Heckinbottom, losing coupons, going to the pub on a school night, getting drunk, singing karaoke, going to work quite rough this morning, reading more about Hibs, getting angrier. However, I'm going to ask you how you are now because I believe you've probably got a joke for me.
Well, I was going to say I'm in fine fettle today, so I kind of have been relying on friends and family and neighbours to get over the weekend because it was a shocker. And lo and behold, I come home from work today and my next door neighbour's got a new magic dog. Does loads of wee tricks and everything. I said, "Oh, what kind is it?" He says, "It's a Labracadabrador." I thought,
No!
I know, but the thing is, he loves his animals. He's got a hen that counts things. It's a mathema chicken.
No.
Brutal.
I'm annoyed at myself for even laughing at that. Actually, I'm going to hit you with one that stepped back into my mind this morning. I'd forgot about it. I used to crack it months ago. What do you call a snowman playing the piano?
Don't know.
Melton John. That's an old classic, that one.
It's about, I've never heard that one.
Oh,
No often I get a joke that I haven't heard at all, but I've never heard the Melton John.
Oh, that's free to all our listeners. They can take that into work tomorrow and use that one.
I'll definitely be using it. So I had a spell with my team where I would send out. So we used to do sales. We didn't do sales anymore. And I would send out a wee update on how everybody's doing. I'd always try to include a wee joke in it just to make sure everybody read it. Mm-hmm. So I've got tons of them to go through, to be fair, but none with musical snowmen. There you go.
Oh, there you go. That's one you can add to the repertoire.
Hi.
In fact, that'll automatically go into your top 3 jokes now.
Straight in there. I told you riveting one when I was at work today as well, and everyone just shook their head at me. Like, for my sakes. Yep. Anyway, well, just tell me thank you to everybody who's listened. So we put the bonus episode out on Friday and got a great reaction to that. And that, what we look at, or what I'm able to see, is the listener numbers on it. And without revealing them and giving too much away, it was really impressive for that bonus one, much better than I thought we would get.
48,000.
48. Well, it was roughly around that figure. Like I say, I'm using a little bit of artistic license, but I think it's a pity that Hibs were so gash on Saturday because I think people would have enjoyed it if they were in the mood to listen to the Hibs stuff.
Yep.
But anyway, to everybody who did listen to it, thank you. And I also got a lovely message for Josh. So Josh headed through to Motherwell on Saturday. He went through in the train and he texted me for the train on the way back. He says, "Dad, somebody's talking about your podcast." Oh, what are they saying? He says, "It's decent, decent." So that was good to hear as well. Unprompted folk promoting it. So if that was you and you were on the train back from Motherwell and a misery about Hibs, thanks for giving us a mention to your pal.
Yep. We're going global.
We're going global. Aye.
Kinda.
400,000. If we were a Hearts podcast, we'd be up at about 400,000 listeners. But
we would.
All our listeners are real, so we'll go with what we've got. Anyway,
they can't listen to podcasts anyway. They're too busy outside polishing the old Rover and dusting down the full leather driving gloves, etc.
Getting the patched cardigans on and hats up and down the street. Aye, if you're listening, Duncan, up yours.
Yes, and please pay for that poppy.
I pay for your poppies. Chances. Right, so transfer deadline day today as well.
I know, this is normally my Christmas, isn't it?
Aye, transfer deadline day, or if you're a Hibs fan, Monday.
On Monday, yes.
Yep. Are we expecting anything in, do you think, Brian?
Jason Naismith, I think, is according to one or two people already done. Classic Heckinbottom. Send a left back out on loan and sign a right back.
So is that
3 already, I think?
Is it Mackie that's going away to Dundee? Did I see that earlier on?
I think.
Yeah, but
Nah, I think Mackie's away to Dundee, which is maybe not a bad move for the lad. Let's face it, unless Lewis Stevenson's got a broken leg, he's always going to play, isn't he? So,
yeah.
And even then, they'd probably patch him up and stick him out. So, but I think Naismith's coming in and goodness knows what other positions we need to strengthen, and all of them pretty much.
Put out on Twitter earlier on just that very question. Say if you were Ron Gordon, what would you be spending your hard earned on in terms of the team? The other kind of common theme was apart from sack Heckinbottom, which was the message you came through loud and clear on all the tweets. Defensive midfielder.
Yep. That Marvin Bartley for Livingston's was quite
decent. He always looked like he could do a trick for us. That a player in that kind of mould, left and right back, and a striker. So it's a bit concerned that we've made 9 signings, and there still seems to be some fairly obvious gaps in the team.
Yep. It's looking not great. I mean, to be honest, everybody can probably tell I sound miserable. Even like I say, this is normally my Christmas transfer deadline day, and I cannot get excited about it at all. Probably to the opposite extreme, where I've woke up this morning and I've thought, I hope they don't give him more money to spend. I mean, how bad is that? But that's how I feel. I really just think don't give him any money. And that's probably wrong of me, and it's probably very short-sighted of me, and I'm probably just been far too cynical in not giving people a chance. Like I have said, all the previous podcasts, give them a chance, give them 10 games, give them this, and then look at me now. Fucking hypocrite.
You're a massive, massive hypocrite. But this is the beauty of being a football fan, though, isn't it? Because you can be as fickle as you like, and
well,
if we win next week, everyone will know next week is international.
I want Heckinbottom knighted. I'll probably get his name tattooed on my. Well, not on my.
You just get Hecking. That would be your Heckinbottom, wouldn't it?
That's probably all I could get, to be honest.
Save yourself a bit of money.
But there was a guy that pulled me up. I think it was yesterday, actually. It was on Twitter for saying it was only a wee while ago, a number of weeks ago, obviously, and give Heckinbottom a chance, and we need to give him time, etc. And I just thought, you've got me there.
I got pulled for that as well on the private board on Hibs on it. And it's a really interesting thing, right? We talk about the time, so we're going to come on to Heckinbottom, but we might as well have a wee chat about it now. I would always advocate giving him a round of fixtures. I think that's when you've got a really good sense of we can tell where you are.
Yeah.
And in my more rational and calm moments, that's pretty much where I am. But then I watch us, and then you think, no, like you need something to say there's improvement and progress and a reason to kind of go to the next one. But the other thing is you probably set a benchmark of what's an acceptable points total after the first round of games.
Yeah.
And unless he wins all the rest of them now, he's probably not going to reach an acceptable points level. So there's probably a point in time in that run of games where you can safely say, right, do you know what, we've had a decent enough run at it. Whether it's now or whether it's a couple of weeks' time, is up for debate. But at the moment, all the signs point to him being the wrong man, I would say, in my opinion.
Yep, definitely. I think what probably illustrates it the most is defensively, the goals that we've conceded with. When we have had a few injuries there. Stevenson's been injured. Gray's obviously in and out of the team. And Jackson's coming. But the amount of goals that we've conceded when really our defence was the cornerstone of our team.
Yeah.
The last 2-3 seasons or so, we were miserly in defence. We very rarely gave much away. And now it just looks like we're just soft as shit. Anybody could run through us now. And they just...
And they do.
and they do. And if you're going to have a defence that's sieve-like, at the very least, what you need is a big bastard in front of them. And we've not even got that.
No.
We've not even got him. We've not even got a big destroyer repelling the attacks, and we're just a charity at the moment. We're just giving away. It's the number of goals we're conceding, the nature of the goals we're conceding. Like you said, you're not. If I could see some signs of progress, some wee patterns here or there that think, you know what, that's actually not too bad, then fair enough. I'd probably be a lot more optimistic. But what I'm seeing is things getting worse as the weeks go by, and it's. I'm going to sound like a jilted lover here, but it feels like I've been lied to by Heckinbottom. He's come in, he's promised me the world, and he's just not given me that.
Well, I tell you, one of the really alarming things is I still don't see which player plays in which position.
Mm-hmm.
And we've signed 9 players. On Saturday, we started with Middleton and Jackson. And I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say Allen as well, even though Allen was a Lennon signing.
Yep.
But apart from those 3, the starting 11 were all players that were there last season.
Yep.
You had Slivka, who was in and out of the team last season, never got a settled place. Whittaker, who was the same. Whittaker was covered, and to be fair to me, was still cover on Saturday because he wouldn't play if Gray or James are fit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've got Marlon, who I struggle to think of the last time he had a good game for us. And then Canberra kind of running about at the top, no really kind of threatening anybody. He had one sort of really half decent chance on Saturday, and that was it. But if you're signing a team of players, which is more or less what Heckinbottom's done, to sit on the bench, you wonder what's the point. If you've got a £300,000 striker that doesn't get a sniff, he brings on Ollie Shaw. So what is that saying about the signings that he's brought in?
It's quite staggering, to be honest, that 5 of his summer signings made up our bench, and that we touched on it, I think 2 episodes ago. That to me just smacks of someone that's completely and utterly underestimated our league with the signings that he's made. And maybe these players as well have come up thinking they can stroll it, and they're people that have done that before have very quickly went home. Joey Barton was one of them, for example.
Joey Barton's a good example.
People that have come up here thinking it's a cakewalk and a Mickey Mouse league, and they've went home with their tails between their legs. Now, I'd like to think that wouldn't be the case, more so because he came in last season and had, I don't know how many games he had in charge, 10, 11 games maybe.
Something like that.
So he would have had almost a full round of fixtures, if you like, near enough, to gauge the strength of the league. But he came in, he shown far too much respect to Celtic and Rangers, which was another bitter pill to swallow, given how much Stubbs and Lennon stuck it to them when they were in charge. So that's a bit of a sickener to now see us beaten before we've even went past Hart Hill. And just to be given that budget, which we're told is a brilliant budget, and to spend it on players that after 3, 4, 5 games of the league season, he's already deemed as not worthy of a starting place. That's worrying, really worrying.
Because I think in his one of the interviews that he did after the game on Saturday, he was hinting at more work being needed in January on the squad. Yeah. So you would expect, I think, if you're rebuilding a squad, that you're going to do over a couple of transfer windows. That's probably reasonable enough. But not if you're losing a match 3-0 and they say, no, well, you can see what the problem is, and we're not going to fix it till January. That's somebody who's not recruited well. Because if your position that you're needing to replace is so important that it's determining whether or not you get a scalping off in Motherwell, you need to fill that sooner rather than later. You can't wait until January to do that.
Aye. I'd heard them say he knows what the problem is. They know what they need to do, and they know what they need to work at. Well, you know what, Heckinbottom, go and just shut up and get on with it then. and stop the talking and just send out a team that mirrors all the things that you've been telling us in the past that you've set everybody up for. Just the talking stops now. Basically, we're in a horrendous position, and he has to. If he's going to stay in his job, he has to turn it around very, very quickly, because it is only going to get worse when the crowd start chanting for you to go, when we are booing as loudly and as often as we are. A manager never really recovers for that. So he's got to make it happen quick. I think, personally speaking, with the international break coming up, now's the time to give him the bullet. And I almost hate myself for saying that, considering how much I've tried to back him up until the last week or so, last couple of weeks. But I genuinely cannot see a way around this. A tweet I'd put out earlier this week, I'd said that I'd never demanded the sacking of a manager. Even Fenlon, Mixu, Butcher, to be fair, in retrospect, I probably did want him to go if I can remember. But Fenlon, Mixu, Yogi, I was never really one for demanding that they went. Yet with him, I just don't see it. And then I'd imagine I'd imagine you've read it, and a good few of our listeners have read it as well. There was an article about how it never worked for him at Leeds United.
Yeah.
And you could honestly substitute the name Leeds United for Hibernian, and it would still be as relevant today as it was back then. When he left Leeds, because it's the similarities were frightening. A team that it was hard to fathom out what their style of play was. A squad of players that spoke very highly of him and respected him and thought he was great. The similarities were scary.
Yeah.
And where I thought initially, when he got sacked for Leeds, or when I read about him when he came to Hibs, and I read about his the time he spent at Leeds, my first thought was like, Leeds are a basket case anyway. You know, they go through managers left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
But the more you see of him at Hibs, the more you think, hold on a minute, maybe they did just cotton onto him after however many games it was they had in charge of him. I can't even mind how many it was.
I was only there a couple of months, wasn't it?
I think it was maybe 10 games he had. So what I initially thought was Leeds just being Leeds, basically, under their owners. I think that's maybe it seems more that they kind of quickly cottoned on that, hold on a minute, this boy's talking a good game, but we're not seeing any tangible signs of that on the pitch. That's the worry.
There were a few question marks about the type of players that he brought to Leeds as well, if you remember, and potentially Barnsley as well. But I'm maybe imagining that just because I'm in a bit of a rage with him. As it is. It was interesting. Yesterday, I tweeted out from the Longbangers Twitter, which is at Longbangers, asking for reasons, humanist or otherwise, to persevere with Heckinbottom. And I think the closest we got to somebody actually presenting something was he does a nice line in jumpers, and I think that if that's all we've got to cling on to, then it's worrying times for the guy. Really, I was hoping somebody was going to come in with some justification, even somebody saying it's too soon, or once he gets players back fit or into the team. But there was nothing. I mean, pretty much the response was tell him where to go, rather than people coming up with reasons to keep him.
Yep. It's the only thing. There's the horse noise.
I brought it in. We need a wee bell to go over that house, ting, so folk can mark it off the bingo card. 20 minutes in. Oh, my 20 minutes £5.
I'm waiting to a sweepstake of when the first horse noise comes. That's the latest one I've given you, I think. I've completely forgot what I was going to say now.
I don't know if you'll top that.
Nah. The horse noise took over, and I've completely forgot what I was going to say.
We were talking about reasons to keep him.
That was it. The only reason I can think is because, and it's no much of a reason, it's because we are only a few games into the league season, and it's his squad now. But that's no reason to keep them.
Aye.
That aside, maybe it's just the cardigans. That's just the reason. I mean, he is immaculately dressed. I'll give him that. He's a very, very sharp dresser.
Very dapper.
Pep Guardiola is a very sharp dresser, but he also happens to be a very good manager as well.
Aye. Wonder if we gave him a dark wig and a Yorkshire accent, we could pinch him from Man City.
That could work.
Aye.
That could work.
I'm sure he'd be into it, but you never know.
I've often thought that, funny enough, it's funny you mentioned that, and I don't know why, randomly. It popped into my head today when I was at work. It would be great to have like a Guardiola or somebody like that took on a challenge like Hibs, for example.
Like a wee project.
You see a Guardiola going to Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Man City, where you've already inherited an outstanding squad, and then you've also got an outstanding amount of money to go and buy what you need as well. I would love to see somebody like him, not that it's ever going to happen, but somebody like him pitching up at Easter Road and saying, you know what, I'm going to take it to Rangers and Celtic. I'm going to win as a league in the next 3 seasons, and then really get the measure of how good a manager they are. It's a pipe dream.
Aye. Well, somebody had mentioned Wenger on our Twitter. I'll try to find the tweet as we're talking there. He's not doing anything now. They're like, just go and get him. And obviously, that's another one that'll not happen. But it was Blair Thompson at Blair T 1875. He said, "How about Wenger as a manager for a start? Then uses connections for players that will actually work for the club." I think probably our budget doesn't even with Ron Gordon doesn't stretch to afford an Arsene Wenger. But like you say, it'd be great to kind of capture their imagination and say, here's a capital city club, a wee sleeping giant. Go in and work your magic, get us playing scintillating football, and watch what happens.
And the thing is with Wenger as well, he likes small attacking midfielders, and we've got shitloads of them, so he'd be quite happy up here.
But actually, the board will be happy because they'll not have to pay Wenger's wages and not have to sign anybody else.
Aye, absolutely. He's got Mal and Alan Horgan. He's just got little diminutive attackers. He'll be delighted.
Right, we've talked about signing. So I asked the Twitter crowd earlier on about if they had Ron Gordon's checkbook, who would they sign. So I'll fire through a couple of them. I'll not get through them all because there's tons of them, and I imagine it'll not be the best thing to listen to. But the kind of the pick of the funny ones anyway. We had Lee. He said, "If I don't see Griffiths, Malumbu, and Effie on the number 26, I'm not going to be happy." Kunster, "We need more signings for the bench. We had 5 summer signings on it on Saturday. Let's fill it with more so they get to know each other." 150k on Hanlon Hill. "It's time we signed Bobby Mann. I've been waiting for this most of my adult life. Can't wait to see him stroll about the pitch like a young Baresi with a Pirlo beard." And the great thing is Bobby Mann replied to that and said, "It's now or never."
That's brilliant. And the scary thing is, he could probably do a job. He'd walk straight into your team.
Aye. Who else? 150k in Hanlon Hill again says he would buy a really big box of Daz from Costco to clean Hanlon's shorts due to the amount of time he spends on his hoop these days.
What's happened to Paul Hanlon?
I don't know if he's still playing with an injury, right? So I'm one of these folk, right? I absolutely love Paul Hanlon. I think he's a really good player. I think we talked about him on a previous podcast where I said the relegation season had Hanlon stayed fit, we would have stayed up.
Yep.
I think he is potentially that good a player.
Absolutely.
But for the life of me, he has not hit form for maybe a good 6-7 months now.
Yep.
Whether I know Heckinbottom said a few times and made the point that he and McGregor were in the training last season. They were playing, but no training because they weren't in a condition to. So I don't know whether if you were giving Hanlon the benefit of the doubt, which I'm inclined to do, just because of who he is and what he's done with the club, it could be that he's still no kind of quite fit enough yet. But it needs to happen for him soon.
Yep. It's it's a worrying loss of form for him because he is, what you say, 100% agree with you. the relegation season. If he was available, it would. I'd imagine we would have stayed up. He was that important to us. So with him not playing great, and the rest of them not playing great, it's a recipe for a shitstorm, to be honest.
Yeah. So why not bring in Porteous? Like, Porteous has been on the bench a couple of times. Why not chuck him in?
Well, you know what? There was somebody on. It was either Hibs Net or Twitter. I can't mind, but somebody had made, and I thought it was a brilliant point or a brilliant theory of how Heckinbottom, when players are coming back from injury, etc., he very slowly drip feeds them back into first team football, and how that might possibly foster a soft mentality, a scared, a feared mentality. And when I read it, I thought that's actually a very good point. Obviously, that kind of flies in the face of him saying last season with Hanlon and McGregor not training, and it basically just been patched up and getting them through week to week. But again, he might not have had any choice but to play them. But that's an interesting theory and not one that I thought about. But the boy could be onto something there, because I have when I read it and then I looked back and I thought, aye, he has got a point. There is a number of occasions now, Heckinbottom's, and he's spoken about that. He's on the pitch, he's on the training pitch, he's slowly building up, and a couple of weeks' time he'll be back training with the rest of the group. Is that maybe instilling a fear factor, a softness about us?
Keeping everybody wrapped in cotton wool.
Yeah. It could be.
Yes. It's an interesting point. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure how it works, because I remember when Porteous got injured. I don't know if you remember Porteous's injury. I can't remember who were playing, Celtic maybe, and he went down 4 or 5 times holding his knee.
Yep.
And then he came back into the team, whether it was the next match or the next game match, and then broke down again.
Yep.
And I actually had the debate with Josh, because Josh was like, "Well, that's Lennon's fault. He's injured Porteous there by playing him when he's not ready." And I was saying, "Well, do you know, if you sense check that theory, Porteous must have been training. He must have been assessed by a qualified, physio to see if he's ready. Well, Porteous himself will have said, I can play. And he must have had like the training games and got through those training games unscathed. Because you're not going to take a chance. I mean, Porteous is probably our most valuable prospect. I would say that's fair to say.
Definitely, 100%.
So you're not going to risk it, for the sake of somebody who could, in theory, earn your club multiples of millions of pounds down the line, either through an initial sale or sell-on fees, as we'll get with McGinn. You're not going to go and risk that by, go and play when you're not ready, son.
Yeah.
But then you hear, well, Hanlon and McGregor, they're not training, they're just going straight in with injuries. And I suppose there are different types of injuries. There's probably some that you can get away with. But I can't remember why I made that point there, but there you go. I'm sure I had a good reason for bringing that up initially. For blaming the man for chucking him in too soon.
I was hanging on to your every word.
Aye, I made it sound decent, eh?
You had me at hello.
Forgot where I was going with. What an idiot.
You sound just like Heckinbottom.
What has he done to me?
You think you've turned the corner, but you're just turning around about.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in again.
We're going to need a bigger bench.
A bigger Right, well, we'll have a wee look at the Motherwell game then. Did you see much of it?
I was too busy impersonating Tom Hanks in the terminal on Saturday in Southampton Airport, getting angrier and angrier at the score. I did not. In fact, I avoided BBC Alba on going back to watch that after seeing the result, and I think I've seen about 4 minutes of highlights. So I'm hoping you'll be a little bit more informed than I will.
Yeah, I did. I watched the game. There was a stream that was available to watch it live. So I watched it live and then watched it on BBC. And I'm going to pronounce this properly because Willie Mismot corrected us on Twitter. So Willie, thanks for educating us about how you pronounce Gaelic words. I think he also chinned us for saying Gaelic rather than Gaelic. But it's
Hmm.
Alapa, BBC Alapa.
It's not got a P in it.
Oh, I know, that's mental, isn't it? But BBC Alapa, so I'll show the respect and say it correctly. So I watched the stream live, and then after that, I watched it on Alapa, and by God, we were bad. And it's almost to the point where you struggle to find what the key problem is. I suspect that the midfield is the biggest problem because we have nobody in there who is taking any kind of responsibility for how we're playing. So if you watch the first goal that Motherwell scored, they come down Whittaker's side. The boy Seedorf, I think it was, skins Whittaker, all ends up. But Whittaker's got no cover. He's got no support. He's up against this guy. Having hope that he can stop him. The guy curls the ball into the bottom corner, and Marciano's probably a little bit suspect for that one as well. He seemed a little bit flat-footed, like he wasn't expecting the shot.
He did. It would appear, ironically, that was the one time where he covered his near post.
Yeah.
To such an extent that he left the far post completely wide open. But I think Rocky was. I think he'll have to take that one on the chin. That was one that could have been stopped.
Yeah, and the second goal comes from Jackson with a handball. Just a moment of madness. I don't know what he's thinking. He's no at risk of losing the header. You know, even if he loses the header, it's not going to cost us a goal.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, he just chucks his arm up, and then that's a penalty. But again, the corner that Motherwell got from it stemmed from. I think we should have had a corner at the other end, first of all. But Motherwell were able to just attack us at will. They just streamed forward, but we had nobody stemming the attacks at source. So the ball goes out for a corner. Penalty is given, and then the final goal. Again, I mean, you watch it back and it's criminal. I think Malin is the first person to. I'm going to say go make a tackle. It's not a tackle is probably the kindest description you could possibly give it because there's nothing like a tackle. It's half-hearted, it's lazy, he's no committed to anything there, and the boy doesn't have to do anything to get past him. There's no like a drop of the shoulder or a bit of skill or anything. He's just walks past him. Nobody else goes to close him down, and then next thing they're through the edge of our box and it's fired in. Again, it goes straight through Marciano. He should have saved it.
Yep.
But this was symptomatic of our play the whole game, though, where Motherwell could just attack, and we've got nobody putting the foot in or tracking men or making themselves difficult to beat. And Heckinbottom, to his credit, made the point about one-on-one battles, and I've kind of been having a little bit of a debate on Hibs.net about this as well. People were saying he was blaming individual mistakes, and he wasn't. He's not blaming a mistake. He's saying this player against their direct opponent lost that battle. You know, and we had too many of them across the pitch. And he's absolutely right because you rely on Canberra getting the better of a centre half. Now, in whatever game of football you play, if you want to score goals or you want goals from your forwards, at some point they need to win that battle. You know, whether it's once in the match or twice in the match or whatever, you need wingers to go past defenders. You need midfielders to take the ball off their opposite number or to keep the ball when they've got it. And we just didn't have it. And then you've got fullbacks who are not able to stop an attacker. So Motherwell didn't come down our left-hand side too often because they weren't getting a lot of joy out of Stevenson. But on the right-hand side with Whittaker, they came time and time again. And Whittaker's left totally exposed. So whether that's Horgan no coming back to cover and do his bit, or whether it's Whittaker just no able to win his one-on-one.
Yeah.
But it all made for a terrible, terrible performance. I mean, it was awful.
And it's, I mean, I actually quite like Motherwell, I must admit, and I think I said it last week. I do like their manager as well. And listen, I don't think Hibs have a divine right to win any game.
No.
But losing 3-0 to Motherwell is not a great result. And from what I've read and from what I saw for the highlights, admittedly only a small amount of highlights, 3-0 was probably what we deserved. I think Heckinbottom said it, and Johnny Boy, who always has a great write-up on Hibs.net, he could save you the price of a season ticket. To be honest, because he knows his football. And it's like you've been at the game, reading his posts, and I think he alluded to it as well that at times we did look all right.
Yeah,
but all right doesn't win you games. And especially when you're only all right in little sequences and periods here and there through 90 minutes.
Well, Heckinbottom said that we looked pretty at times, and whether pretty is the word I would use. There was a couple of decent passages of play where we got the ball down. Alan played in Canberra for a good chance, and that's the one that springs to mind. But there's a couple of times where we knocked the ball out. But if you're not got the grit and the determination and that leadership on the pitch, there's absolutely 0 point in doing that.
Yep. You win your battles. And I'm going back to it, and it's my biggest bugbear, and I am the biggest broken record in the world. You high press, you go out and you have players with the fitness levels that they've never had before, and you go and you win the ball high up the pitch.
Yeah.
You force your opposition to lose the ball. You either take it off them or you force them to panic and play a pass to try and get themselves out of trouble, and you nick it then.
Yeah.
You force them deeper and deeper and deeper into their own half to the point where you're over them, you're suffocating them. And that's not me coming up with a fantasy what Hibs should be. That's the fantasy that was sold to me, and I thought, I can't wait to watch that. I can't wait to see that. And again, admittedly, I wasn't at the game. Like I say, I've only seen a few minutes of highlights, but that what happened on Saturday was once again nowhere near the promises that we were given.
No, and
that makes it harder.
I'll tell you another thing is Rangers obviously scudded us by 6 a few weeks ago, and I think had Motherwell scored their third maybe 10, 15 minutes earlier, we could have been looking at another 6.
Yeah.
And it would have been unforgivable. I mean, it's unforgivable losing 3. And you can see the extent of the problems. We lost 3 to Motherwell, we lost 2 to St Johnstone, we lost 3 to Morton, 6 to Rangers. I mean, we are just absolutely hemorrhaging goals at the moment.
Yep. Heck, to be honest, Heckinbottom's biggest saving grace for me is the fact that Hearts are inexplicably more shite than we are.
Well, they're doing their best today, aren't they?
Oh, I mean, if they were sitting pretty in second or third just now, there's a horse again. Heckinbottom would be he'd be in a right bit of bother if he thinks this is bad. You know, as much as it's the rivalry and the banter and whatever else, we do. I'm not saying we judge ourselves against them, but you want to be above them. They think the same as us, and it's only, I think, the fact that they are worse than us somehow that he's not got it even harder than what he's had so far. You know, if he thinks this is tough and he's under pressure, if Hearts were, like I say, second, third, fourth in the league, he would have a hell of a lot more pressure on him.
Aye.
And know that should be the benchmark, or that should be defined whether he's in the job or not. You look at Hibs in isolation, and it's not good enough. But that, I think, has some slightly eased the pressure on him. But that doesn't matter. The Hearts could finish 12th and Hibs could finish 11th. That's not going to be good enough. Simple as that. It has to improve. It has to turn around. And again, you see the 2-2 at home at St Johnstone, where I was bored. Never saw anything of much worth. And then your next game, where you think, you know, they lost a last-minute goal against St Johnstone. Let's go out and try and make amends. They should be champing at the bit. And you in the end, surrender quite meekly to a 3-0 defeat. What's next?
Aye. Then what think about what's next, given the games we've got coming up?
I can't see a team in that league that I look at and I think we could beat them. I mean,
at the moment.
And that's a damning indictment of where we are at the moment.
Right, okay. There's probably enough grief for us there, eh?
I'd like to say I feel better having got that off my chest, but I actually feel worse.
Well, I tell you what, you mentioned earlier on in the podcast that you were singing karaoke last night. Do you remember? Are you in enough of a state to remember what you sang?
Yes, I done my signature track, which is "Broken Stones" by Paul Weller.
Oh, aye.
There was what did I sing after that? Actually, I actually sang "Run Around Sue" by Dion, and then I unleashed a Powell and a Teeny number on the unsuspecting clientele.
Okay,
I wasn't great.
The last time I did karaoke, I probably shouldn't admit this in a public forum, but I'm going to let's just say it was my younger days, and I'd taken something that I probably shouldn't have taken, which put a brightener on the night, and we were in.
I love Viagra.
We were in the Cheshire Inn. I think that's still open, and they had karaoke, and I thought, oh, I'll sing Maggie May, Rod Stewart, and it was only when the music started, everything, I realised I didn't ken any of the words, so really how the proper tune went, it was only the chorus that I knew in the opening line, and so what I treated the punters in the Cheshire Inn to that evening was pretty much an ecking individual, absolutely murdering a Rod Stewart song. And even in the state that it was in, I knew it didn't sound good. And you like all sorts of music when you're in that state.
Oh, wow, yes.
So that was the last time I ever did that, and the last time.
How could you hold a microphone when you were trying to get yourself a half Nelson?
Oh, who knows? Who knows? It was different times. These things were acceptable back in the day, and it was a long. Like I say, I think that pub's shut now, and I hope I'm not responsible for it.
We won't be back.
Aye. It was one of these days where my flatmate at the time, we had a flat down on Leith, just off Leith Walk, and it was a Sunday, obviously. Why not on a Sunday?
Yes.
We worked the next day, and we'd gone down to the Foot of the Walk pub, early doors, for some breakfast, and he just kind of said, "Look what I've got. Well, we try these," and I thought, "Oh, why no?" And there you go. An evening later, you're belting out Maggie May, or listen to Maggie May get played where you're belting out other noises. And that's pretty much the last time I did anything like that, because I thought I could have bumped into somebody I can't. If anybody had seen me, I would never have shown my face again. So I'm sorry to the punters in the Cheshire Inn, and I'm sorry if you were the owner, and that's why you're now shut down. And if there are any kids listening, just say no.
Just say no. What could have been a perfectly good, nice, quiet afternoon.
Aye.
And you've went on the Heath Ledgers, and then
the Heath Ledgers.
And then hours later, you're chewing your shoulder trying to sing Maggie May.
So I do think I'm trying to think. So I'm 41 now. It must have been a good 20 years ago. So a long time ago. Right. Speaking of karaoke, then, and my experiences are worse than yours. If you were to pick a Hibs player, and you can pick anyone, pick a Hibs player and tell us what karaoke song you think they'd sing. So I'll start. I'll say Marciano, and he would obviously go for Eye of the Tiger.
He'd go for Eye of the Tiger. I need to think of one. I'm struggling. Jesus, I'm struggling.
How about Heckinbottom? He could have The Great Pretender.
I like that one. I do like that one. I'll give you that.
Got Malin. I can't know if there's a song about an invisible man, but that'd be Malin's.
I'm trying to. Canberry up front on his own. He could sing Lonely.
Hi.
He was always by Akon. That was a terrible song, that, actually. That reminds me, talking of rappers, why does Snoop Dogg carry an umbrella around with him?
I have no idea.
Faux drizzle. You probably don't get that, Matthew, because you're 41.
No, I get it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a technical hitch there. I never heard you laughing.
No. I just as I was speaking, there was the tumbleweed that I brought in earlier on for my dog joke. Just made another appearance.
Right. It just popped into my head, that one. I'm trying to buy myself time so I can think of a song for somebody. I was actually trying to think, and poor old Joe Newell, I'm picking on Joe Newell. I was trying to think of a song that would be appropriate for Joe Newell. But I can't think of anything.
We'll put it out to the listeners then. If you can think of some good karaoke songs that would be befitting of the various members of the Hibs squad, then send us a tweet and we'll read out the best ones in our next bonus episode, which I'm sure we'll do at some point. And speaking of things that we should have been reading out, is our midfield for our best team since 2010. But because we brought the podcast forward tonight, unexpectedly, we've not done anything for it. So we will include that later on. Either we'll push it back to next week, or if something captures our imagination enough that we do a bonus episode, we'll chuck it in there as well. But if anybody wants to contribute to that and give us a right midfielder, we'll go for that, Brian.
Aye, we'll go for right midfield. Yep.
Right midfield. Right. So send us who you think should be our right midfielder for the team since 2010, and we'll cover that next time. And I think we're almost done. Snack of the week, Brian. What have you got for us this week?
Snack of the week. What? Snack of the week. I have been gorging on crisps again because the fitness plan's been kind of delayed for another week. I mean, you start that on a Monday, don't you? I think.
Oh, aye.
It always has to be a Monday. And because I went out yesterday and got absolutely cattled, I actually went into work with a salad today, stuck it in the fridge, and it's still in the fridge. I went to the van at lunch. I got 2 link sausage rolls, a big packet of flame grilled McCoys, and a can of Coke. that was my lunch. But I think the last week, I'm actually going to go, and I've got a packet here beside me actually, which I've not eaten. Golden Wonder sausage and tomato crisps. There you go.
Oh, see, I've got picked up some Golden Wonder tomato sauce crisps at Tesco earlier on. That's a good shout. So I'll probably give you the nod there. I was going to go for Jaffa cakes. Big fan of the Jaffa cake, and without sparking off the debate, nobody's telling me that there's a better biscuit stroke cake hybrid out there than the Jaffa cake. Like, they are sublime.
They are wonderful, I must admit. I do like her. The thing is, Jaffa cake, it's like a bottle of wine. Once you open the packet of the bottle, you're arsing them there and then.
You can't have one. It's impossible to have one. I think they've done scientific tests on it, and
you're horsing them all.
Aye, the only people who would eat one would be Duncans, because they're fucking weirdos anyway. But the rest is if you're normal, you're arsing a whole packet of them in a winner.
Guaranteed.
But
spoil yourself.
I'll go with the sausage and tomato crisps just because they're a wee bit different as well. You didn't see them very often.
You didn't know they're a rare breed, but they're certainly worth picking up if you can get your hands on them.
Aye. Okay. Right. Well, I think it's about time to wrap up for the night, Brian. No game to preview. It's the international weekend this weekend, and I don't know about everybody else, but I'm really at a point where I didn't really care that much about the international team. There's nothing about it that excites me other than maybe John McGinn.
I totally agree with you. I went through a spell when we had Walter Smith in charge and then Alex McLeish the first time, where I got really interested in Scotland. And that's how many years ago was that? 10? Maybe more?
About that, aye.
And since then, it's just been a succession of shite.
It's no inspiring at all. You look at some of the names in the team and you just think, oh, come on.
Ironically, we've probably got more Scottish lads playing the trade down south in the top league and abroad than we have had since not the glory days, but a few decades ago when when we had some, your Graham Souness's and the like.
You should
but
know that, yeah.
We still happen to be garbage.
That is what it is. What can you do?
Aye.
Aye. Well, here's hoping to get a victory anyway. I dare say I'll watch it, but I can't say I'm enthused about it. If Steve Clark's not the most inspiring guy either, is he? He's a good manager, done a good job at Kelly, but you hear him and jeez, he doesn't half send you to sleep like.
He's another one that just looks permanently pissed off.
Aye, he does. He's got the look of the Tommy Wrights about him.
Aye. Absolutely.
Aye. He's doer. Anyway, right, well, thank you very much for joining me again tonight, Brian.
Pleasure, as always.
And thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening. Again, the call to action for everybody is to give us plenty of retweets. Tell your pals. If you know a Hibs fan that you think would listen to us, get them switched on to us. Follow us on Twitter. We're on YouTube now as well. I say that kind of confidently. What I point out is I spent all of yesterday, because I'm totally technically inept, trying to figure out how to get podcasts onto YouTube, because this is audio and YouTube only wants video. And what a faff. And eventually I Googled it and found this website that did it automatically for you. All you do is you put in your YouTube channel and the RSS feed for your podcast. I thought, that's fantastic, it'll do it all for me. And it says you get 5 free and then you have to pay for the rest of them. I thought, you bastards. So the ones that are up to now, those are our free ones. So if you go in the search longbangers.com, we're on there, or follow our Twitter. There's a link to the YouTube on there as well. Subscribe, and you'll see they've got a very unique look about them. The next ones will look significantly more amateurish than those. So just so everybody's expectations are set early doors, and I didn't get Moni tweets about, oh, you should have done it like the first ones. I can. It would be great if they could all be like the first ones, but we're not earning anything off the podcast. It costs a tenner a month, and I'm not spending that on it if I can figure out how to do it shitely myself. So we either get a sponsor and we get good looking ones, or you're just going to have to make do with what's out there. Anyway, get folk tuned into it. Go and subscribe to us, and we can do more stuff with the podcast. Thank you everybody for listening. Have a great weekend, and we'll let you know if there's any bonus content coming up. Otherwise, we'll catch you next Tuesday. See you later on.
Cheers.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.